A true optic disc edema is because of axonal swelling. If the axonal swelling is a result of raised intracranial pressure, it is called papilledema. And pseudopapilledema is the one when the disc edema is not because of axonal swelling. So the discussion for this talk is to differentiate between a true or a pseudo axonal swelling. If I show you these disc photographs, it is very easy to diagnose disc edema. Not only this, it is easy to say that this may be true disc edema, but if I show you these photographs, then we have to put the reasoning process. You cannot diagnose intuitively what is this. And the reasoning process consists of symptoms, signs and investigations. For this talk, I will restrict to signs. And when we mean signs, it is most of it is a good optic disc examination. An optic disc examination is best done in stereoscopy by using one of these lenses and not by direct ophthalmoscopy. So when you have one of these lenses, we should do optic disc examination. And you must have come across a template which is talked about when we describe an optic disc. It is described in all textbooks. Usually it is described in glaucoma textbooks, but that's not correct. It's a general template and you can use it for any type of optic disc. And I will show you how that template can be used even for this question. So let us start with the first term. The first term is determine size, shape and margin of the disc. We know that when the disc is small, we have a small cup, and when we have a large disc, the cup is large, which is physiological. Okay, but the term also says margin. In glaucoma, the disc margin is always well defined, so we tend to overlook this part of the stem. But if we see this disc, the margin is obviously blurred, the vessels are obscured, and that is a sign of a true disc edema. The next part is to look at the neuroretinal rim. The neuroretinal rim doesn't mean only notch like this, it can also mean a pallor of the neuroretinal rim. So we basically look at the contour of the rim, that is mainly for glaucoma, but for non-glaucomatous causes, the color of the rim is more important. The next part is to look at the surface of the disc. On the surface, we look for hemorrhage. Hemorrhage can happen in glaucoma, it can happen in vitreous detachment, it can happen in non-glaucomatous etiologies. In addition to that, we may have hard exudates, and there may be loss of pulsations if the intracranial pressure is raised. So all this is part of the surface of the optic disc, and if we follow this template, then we may not miss any part of the template. And the last is to look at the peripapillary zone. Again, the RNFL doesn't mean only RNFL defects, it can also mean opacity of RNFL, like in this case, which is an early sign of optic disc edema, or Patton's line, which are signs of resolved or late optic disc edema. Now let us put this template and see some examples. This was a 42-year-old homemaker who had history of repeated headaches, usually in the mornings, and her vision was 6 by 6 and 6 in both the eyes. But if we see the disc, there is gross optic disc edema. The margins are blurred. The neuroretinal rim looks hyperemic, but the margins are blurred. The nerve fiber layer is slightly opaque. Not only this, if you start tracing the vessels, we may see the large vessels, but the intermediate vessels or small vessels we cannot trace through the margin of the disc. And in addition, you have a hemorrhage here. So if you don't put the template, you may miss these subtle signs. All these are signs of true optic disc edema. This is a little later in the course of papilledema, where we see the elevation is slightly reduced. But you look at the color of the nerve fiber layer, it is more pale than the previous example. And you take further close look. Do you see this yellowish dot-like things? These are called pseudodrusen, a sign of long-standing true optic disc edema. In addition, you have several hemorrhages. This is another example where you have again bilateral true optic disc edema. In addition, you see lot of hemorrhages and hard exudates, and they are widespread. So this photographs is an example of a basic rule in neuro-ophthalmology, that if you see hard exudates and hemorrhages within 1 disc diameter, then it is indicative of raised intracranial pressure. If it is widespread like this, think of something else, and the commonest cause is hypertensive retinopathy. Because in raised intracranial tension, the processes are coming from behind because of raised intracranial pressure. The signs are usually restricted within 1 disc diameter. If it is not, then think of something else which Dr. Satyakarna will elaborate. Now let us look at some early disc edemas. This patient, in the right eye, there is very subtle edema of the nerve fiber layer. If you compare the margin of this disc, especially the nerve fiber layer here, versus the other normal eye, we see that there is slight opacity of nerve fiber layer here, and that's the earliest sign of true optic disc edema. This is another example where in addition to the edema of the nerve fiber layer, you have hard exudates, which are basically because of the leakage from the disc, and it's a typical case of neuroretinitis. Now in contrast to these, if you see this disc and now we put the template, we see that the disc margin is well defined. The temporal pallor that we see is a photographic artifact, but if you see the other parameters, you see the nerve fiber layer. The nerve fiber layer is elevated. This disc has edema, but look at the nerve fiber layer in this image and a similar image in this eye. What's the difference? The difference is the opacity of the nerve fiber layer. You see this nerve fiber layer, this is transparent. This is an obliquely inserted disc. That's why the nerve fiber layer on the nasal side has to climb on the disc. And that's why we see this elevation, but the nerve fiber layer is transparent. In contrast to this is obviously edematous, opaque nerve fiber layer. This is true disc edema, and the previous was pseudo disc edema. In addition, there is one hard exudate here, which is again a sign of true disc edema. Now in contrast to that, you see a grossly elevated optic disc here. This patient had similar picture in both the eyes. Disc is grossly elevated. So this patient was referred with a diagnosis of papilledema. But again, if we put the template, the disc margin is well defined. We can trace all the vessels, even the smaller vessels. This small vessel we can trace through the margin of the disc. The cup is obliterated. There are no hard exudates, no hemorrhages, no engorgement of veins. The AV ratio is not altered. So there are so many signs which tell you that this is pseudo disc edema. This patient has optic disc drusen, which was picked up on B scan. These are other examples of pseudo disc edema. This is a small disc with a small cup and classically called heaped up nerve fiber layer. But the nerve fiber layer is transparent, and again this is a pseudo disc edema. Hyperopic discs are also small in size and often confused for a true disc edema, but they are not. The critical thing is to apply the template and see carefully all the parameters. These are myelinated nerve fibers. Again a differential for pseudo disc edema. This is myelinated nerve fibers. And in addition, this patient has temporal pallor of the optic disc. This patient has hereditary optic neuropathy and not true disc edema. This is hypotony maculopathy. You see disc edema and choroidal folds. A rare cause, but again a true disc edema. So in nutshell, these are the points which differentiate true versus pseudo disc edema. A true disc edema has elevation of peripapillary nerve fiber layer. The elevation obscures the vessels as they traverse the optic disc. You have venous congestion, you have exudates, you have cotton wool spots, and absent venous pulsations. So if you put this template, I am sure you will not go wrong. Thank you for your attention.